Okay, first job we need to do to sort this tail out is make sure that the elevator sits onto the tail plane and the rudder fits onto the fin. Okay, and what I'm doing with the elevator is having the elevator drooped a little bit. Most Spitfires you see packed up tend to have droopy tail plate elevators, so that's how it's going to sit on the aircraft. So it's got a bit of a downward droop. Now the reason what I've done, if I can get that out, yeah, I've put pins, brass pins in there. That one's come out again. I've put a brass pin in there, and I've drilled the holes roughly at a slight angle. So when you put the pins in there, try and get it to fit, and you put it together like that, it sits at that angle. Now the reason I've done that as well is because I am foiling this part of the plastic. It's not always easy to get this bit to bond to that bit, because I'm going to have to paint this separately, foil that bit, and then plug that onto there, and gluing it on is not easy. So I've done both of them. I've just pinned them both. So I'm going to do the same on the tail. It's dead easy to do. You just get some brass wire and an appropriate drill bit. When I put my drill, this is a 0.8mm drill bit, and this is basically 0.78mm brass wire. It doesn't really matter where you put the brass, because you can't see it once it's in. Just make sure you try and get it in the middle, really. I'll just eyeball it. You don't have to be super accurate, because you can wiggle it around a little bit. I'll just get that one about there, I think. And then, whoops, we'll put a bit of tube, brass tube in there like so. That's a good fit actually. And then just cut it off. This is not a bad practice even if you're not going to foil it, if you're just going to paint it normally like most people would. It does give you something to kind of key it onto. That's just gone over that. Right, so it's quite easy really, just try and get this in focus. Let's get let's put a dot and a dot. Roughly where it needs to be. And then that should plug in there. Like so. And now I've that quite firmly fitted without having to glue it on, which is what I want really. I don't have to glue that and just plug it in. Done. So there we go, that's the first part of the tail. So I'll push them through, I'll pull them through before. But what I need to do is map out where going to pull them out. I might make them a bit longer so that they stop when they go in. I've got plenty of wire. Yeah, so I need to map out where all the tapes are going to go, so to give an accurate representation of what I'm trying to achieve. So that's the next job. Hi. Okay, I'm just going to throw some pictures up of the look I'm trying to achieve. Some of these pictures are of a real Spitfire tailplane and elevator. And the pictures at the end are pictures of a model of a Spitfire. Basically, it's on a website called Warbirds in My Workshop, and it's a chap that builds fifth scale aircraft that go in museums. You're not going to find a better model of a Spitfire anywhere on the planet, I don't think, than that one. I'll put a link to his website. But I use that model because that's what I'm trying to replicate. It's kind of he's built an MJ250, but obviously much bigger than this. And it took him 7 years to build it, so you can appreciate that. I think the guy knows what he's talking about. And it's an ideal reference for me for getting the rib detail on the tail quite accurate. There's not a really good picture of the elevator one. It's not too bad, but I can use what I can call a bit of poetic justice and guess a little bit for that. But I could certainly get a representation of this rudder. Now, if you look at the pictures I've put up, you can see there's an awful lot of rib tape going on the structure. And what I've done, I've drawn around the tail just to start to draw in the different parts that are going to have to be fitted onto this to emulate that. I've given up drawing it because I think it's just going to be easier to use the reference photographs I've got, start adding the tapes and then just working them out as I go along and cut all the tapes to the right width, etc. And it should be quite easy to do. So that's the plan next. It's going to take quite a long time, I think, because there's a lot to it. There's a lot more detail on this rudder and elevator than I expected, actually. So that's the next plan, is to start doing the adding the file to these. I've done the let's zoom that back out again. I've filed the elevator, the actual tailplane, and then I've glued it on there. So that's ready to go. Is that now? I'm glad that's done. It's nearly finished now as the filing part of this model. So I've got to say I'm a little bit fed up of filing now. So yeah, I can move on to normal parts that I want to kind of do now. So it wants cleaning up a little bit, does that? So yeah, so next bit, start adding the rib tapes on that. Now, I've done this before on a different video I'm going to use when I can find it. What have I done with it? Oh God. Back in a minute. This, which is it's basically flashing tape they use on this was sold as flashing tape to fit on you know, the plastic roofs you see on conservatories and stuff. It's basically self-adhesive foil, which is really good for this. I've found it is really good for this. It's self-adhesive, which makes my life a lot easier. It sticks better than masking tape would, and it's very thin, and you can actually manipulate it a little bit. So all the rib tapes are going to be made out of this, so that's the next job. Okay, first piece of foil I need to do is this, the tape that goes around the edge, goes right around the fin at the back, sorry, the rudder. You can't get tape and just wrap it around. You've got to, by trial and error, the only way I can do it is by sticking a big piece on there and cutting around it. So that's what we're going to do. Wrong words. Okay. Okay, that's the top edge done. So what I need to do is cut right around there. Now I could do this one of two ways. I happen to have another rudder here, so I could use that as a guide. Which I'll give it a go. This big bit in the middle we don't want. And for all those that are kind of watching this kind of half-heartedly, yes, I know it's a cloth. It's not an aluminium, it's not a metal rudder. This isn't supposed to be metal. All it's doing is creating the thickness of the tape. It's just a material that's suitable to do that. It will get painted with a suitable silver. So that's that first piece done. I need to do the same thing on the bottom edge as well. So it's quite time consuming as this. Everything I do seems to be time consuming at the moment. So that's the general idea. So the next tape, I can actually put some more on. I've got some more here. So there's a piece that goes from, well actually I can put that piece there. There's a spine piece there that goes right down there. It kind of steps, it has a step in it. I cut it a bit big. Again, I'll just zoom back out again. Some people suggest when you're filing aircraft, why don't you just use this tape all the time? The reason I don't like it is because it's quite thick actually, and by its very nature, because it's thicker and it's soft, which is good for going around compound curves and all that sort of stuff, to be able to see where you're going. But it also dents very easily, so it marks really badly. So you can't polish it or sand it or anything like that. It just doesn't work. I have seen people file whole planes in it, but I don't want to be too critical of other people's efforts, but I don't think it looks very good. Trying to get this in the right place because it's difficult to tell from this side, if you know what I mean. Maybe I should put register marks on it really. That's about right. At this point I'm kind of experimenting, it's not necessarily going to stay like this. It has got a step in there though. So let's just see how that looks. Well, you get the general idea. So that's this piece here. I'm not convinced it's in the right place. I might trim that back actually. And the beauty of this stuff is you can just mess around with it and take it off and try something else. It's not a destructive process putting this tape on. You can take it off and bugger about with it basically, which is what I'm doing obviously. That's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Old school. Don't look bad actually, it looks better than to my eye. Just going to trim down there. I might have to trim quite a lot that way because I don't know how much it's going to affect the thickness when I put it back on here. Oh, it seems okay. That seems okay. So there we go, that's that bit done. Now I've cut some pre-cut tapes, but I'm not convinced they're going to be wide enough. I'll just try one. These are for the rib tapes going, the horizontal ones. Sticky stuff. Right, that one goes just there. Oops. yeah, I think that needs to be wider, so I'm going to cut some more. Let's take that off. Let's see, it comes off easy enough. Right, I'm going to cut some more and then we'll come back. Okay, I adjusted the width of the tapes. I'm quite happy with those now. And I've put one of the interlinking tapes in there. I'm quite happy with that. I think it looks alright. When you see it in context with the rest of the aircraft, yeah, I hope you can see what I'm getting at really. It's alright. I mean, straight out of the box it looks fine painted. I mean, thousands of these kits have been done like this on there, but I've never seen anybody actually enhance the tailplane or the rudder and elevator detail, so I thought I'd give it a go. On the Tamiya kits and stuff, it's got this on. We don't have these little side pieces in though. I don't think I've seen those. But yeah, anybody that's tuning in halfway through the video, it's not staying as silver, it's going to get painted, so don't worry. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do the rest of it. This is my phone, but I'm using it as a reference. It's gone off now. Yeah, that's what I'm using as a reference, this picture that I've already shown you. So I'm going to do all that on both sides and then I'll come back to you. Okay, that took a bit of time. That's the efforts I've done today so far. It took about an hour or so, an hour and a bit I suppose. So I'll take it off there because it's difficult to see. Yeah, so that's the basic arrangement of all the tapes. They look a bit weird at the moment because it's it'll probably need a light coat of primer and then painting silver. So that's the kind of after, and that's what you get with the kit. I think it's a dramatic difference. I don't know if people think it's necessary or not, I don't know. I think it's worth it, I like doing it. It's quite a challenge actually. And it's no different to, you know, going over it and finding rivet detail and panel lines and all that sort of stuff, because this is basically the same thing, isn't it? It's adding panel line detail, but they're not panels of the fabric. So there you go, that's that side done. I'll have to spend a bit of time now doing that side and then doing the elevators. I'm going to guess it's going to take me a good half a day to do this, so I'll be back. Okay, we're done. Took a bit of time, did that. That one's done. I've given it a coat of grey primer. In fact, it's got 2 coats of grey primer on there. I've also put the actuator rod on. I managed to break the original rod that was there, and I don't mind that because it was a bit thick anyway. So what I've done, I've glued it on there. I've made sure it fits onto the fuselage as well, and I've put a piece of wire in there instead. And I've done the elevators. Again, yeah, they took a bit of time to do. Just a coat of grey primer on those. So the job now is I'm going to paint them silver. I'm going to use LP70, which is gloss aluminium lacquer paint. I don't want it glossy, but I like the paint, so I'm just going to use this, and I'll probably give it a coat of satin afterwards. So we'll do that now. Okay, all done, painted up. So I guess that's the difference between the two. They're alright, I'm quite happy with them, but they're a little bit too pronounced, I think. But if you look at the example I put on there, that big 5th scale model was quite pronounced. The reality, they probably wouldn't be as pronounced as this, but I suppose which is better? I don't know. I'm quite happy with them anyway, they're okay. That's the elevators as well. So got 2 coats of silver on there and 2 coats of satin varnish. So there we are. I'll put them on the model now. 2 minutes. And there we are, fitted onto the tail. I decided not to droop the tail because well, it was just easier not to. Without going into deep reasons as to why. It was just easier to keep them straight. But they're not actually glued in yet. So yeah, there we go. I've put some put the decals on wings as well, so it's starting to look like a Spitfire now. Have I done the ones on the bottom? Yeah, I've done the ones on the bottom. I need to cut the gun parts out yet. That one's, yeah, I've cut the gun parts out on this side. So So yeah, that's the tail done, so a bit more progress. Just needs the decals. Can't put the decal on the sides yet because I'm going to have to paint the insignia on there with masks. So if I put the decals on, I'll end up pulling the decals off with the masking. So that's going to be done. So yeah, it's coming on. So I'm quite happy with that. It's been a big job actually. It's taken a good day, half a day plus to do that. But, I think it looks better than the kit one. I'm quite happy with that. So there we go. Next